November 25th, 2025.
All right, we will call the city council meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. and rise for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, we have public comment period. Is anybody here for public comment at all? The hearing none, we'll move forward to approval of the agenda. And I do have some minor corrections, and then in addition, so we have Adam and Nate with Green Isle Fire Department. So we can get them rolling here. We'll put them right above City Attorney Ken Jansen, which we really don't have an update with, so we'll just mark him above number 6. And then we will also, let me make sure I have this. We'll just put 296 McGran. We will put that one right after Mr. David Mueller with Abdo. If everybody's good with that. And I don't think we have anything else for me. Anybody else have any others? No. Perfect. Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the additions.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? And hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. We'll move on to number 5, approval of the consent agenda. Items A and B with our claims totaling $67,856.54.
Make a motion to approve the today's consent agenda of the minutes of November 11th, 2025, and the claims totaling $67,856.54.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. And we'll welcome Adam and Nate from Green Isle Fire Department. Thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate it. We'll get you in and out as fast as possible. We just wanted to, thanks for doing the flags, offering to do it. We just want to make sure we understand what the fire department's doing versus what the city's supposed to do.
Yep.
So if you can give me some insight, what your thoughts are.
Again, but we would like to take care of the streets.
Yep.
You know, all the streets. Go through Adam and I or whomever else will want to go through, because needs to be replacement ones, and you know, maybe even a little bit better ones. They're pretty flimsy and cheesy on some of them. Some are plastic, some are
with the rods.
wooden knobs, yeah, with the rods. But no, we're more than willing to take care of them, put them up, take them down, and do Veterans Park to them.
Perfect.
Just would need to know, you know, where the cranks are and
Yep.
how that goes. I guess we've never done it, but we asked the fire department and they all agreed that yes, you know, we'll take care of them, because it's a shame when they sit up for so long and blow in the wind.
Yeah, and
and whatnot.
yeah, and we have it's a key and then a crank system we have for Veterans Park, so we'll make sure people service or somebody gets you access or shows you, or we have extra keys, etc. at City Hall to pick up. So we'll arrange that. And then what holidays are we?
If you guys wouldn't mind, I mean, we'll look into it, but if you guys had specific dates on when, you know, up, down, whatever, you know, and obviously the news when they're supposed to be half staff and the whole works, you know.
That'll be perfect. So then
you have my contact, and you know, if they need to be half staffed or whatever, let me know, and myself or get a hold of somebody to run crank them down, and obviously the list of, you know, Memorial Day, July 4th,
Flag Day.
Flag Day.
Okay, good.
Yeah, as far as the half staff thing, I was gonna look and see what there's available out there for.
There's an app.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That'll help keep us in the loop.
Perfect.
I think the only other thing is, I mean, use of the skid loader from the city, you know, all that stuff, basket, so.
Yep. Yep, yeah, because the basket, I think we all discussed that back when we purchased it. It's OSHA compliant. It has, well, you know how to use the
Right.
use the
Yeah.
machinery.
And all the members of the fire department,
Employees,
right?
but we should all be, you know, somewhat,
Right.
obviously, there's some people that we wouldn't let, you know, just go.
Qualified individual.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you won't want to be up there as well.
Right.
No, we have the harnesses, hard hats, the whole works. I know you had mentioned you have your own that you probably prefer to use, which is totally fine, as long as we're just maintaining that compliance, so. No, I appreciate it. I think we'll get you a list of the exact dates just to get it down on paper, that way we're all on the same page. Any questions for the fire department?
I think it's a great gesture. I mean, it's somebody taking control of it and make sure we're on top of all the flags and brackets, whatever it takes, and
Yeah,
yeah, that's awesome.
looks nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody sees one that, you know, gets damaged, whatever, give us a call right away, cause
Right,
somebody's available to go tackle that, get.
Sure.
No, we appreciate it a lot. So thank you guys for coming in. That's all we had, unless you had anything else for us. Awesome. Enjoy the weather.
Thank you.
well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Adam, those boxes are in my office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now. Put that under, I was trying to remember where I had that situated. So City Attorney Jansen, I have, no emails or anything for updates at this moment in time. I think City Clerk Treasurer didn't have any other updates, so he will be here at the first meeting of the month. So we will see him in person or via Zoom at that point in time. And we will move on to Mr. David Mueller with Abdo. I'm gonna give you the floor, good sir. A second.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to share my screen here. I believe one of you will have to accept my request.
Already done, my friend.
Perfect. You guys aren't new here to Zoom, so. All right. So we'll start with our first item here for review. It'll be your third quarter report. We've reconciled all of your bank accounts through September 30th of 2025 and reviewed activity in all funds. The following is a summary of our observation. And as a reminder, all information presented is unaudited. On page 3 here, the report shows the cash and investment balances as of 9/30/2025 compared to 12/31 of 2024. The cash and investment balances is currently at about 1.9 million. This is a change of about $12,000 from 12/31 of 2024. On page 4 here is just the graphical representation of the cash and investments on a monthly basis. You'll see current year is right in line with the prior year right here at the September point. We don't need to do anything on page 5. On page 6, we review the revenues and expenditures of the general fund. Explanations are provided for line items that are less than 80% or more than 120% of the projected year-to-date budget and variance greater than $15,000. We have 6 items of note here. The first one being taxes are below the prorated budget due to the second half tax distribution not being received until December. Licenses and permits are above the prorated budget due to higher than projected permit revenue. Charges for services, including rental, is higher than expected due to the unbudgeted Excel lease. Intergovernmental revenue is below the prorated budget due to the timing of local government aid deposits. The second half will also be received in December. Miscellaneous revenue here is above the prorated budget due to the insurance claim paid by the League of Minnesota Cities for the hail damage. And then general government expenditures are above the prorated budget due to payments to Stantec for the hail damage project. So just a reminder, I believe we had talked about these in previous meetings. Those are just kind of offset. We received the money from League of Minnesota Cities, paid it out to the vendor for those fixes. Any questions in the general fund before we move on? Hearing
Good
none,
to go.
hearing none, we will move on to our cash balances by fund. So page 8 here of the report shows the cash balances by fund. We analyzed those funds where cash changes by 50,000 and 20%. As mentioned previously, the overall increase in cash is about $12,000. The reason for the decrease in the general fund is due to timing of the second half tax distribution, local government aid. The increase in the fire department capital fund is due to the gambling fund donation amounts. And the increase in the sewer fund is due to completing the budgeted transfer from the water fund to the sewer fund already for the year. All right. Pages 10 and 11 here. Page 10 of the report displays the details of cash and investments by account. And page 11 of the report shows a pie chart with a breakout of cash and investments by type and the maturities. All right, on page 10, we review the fire fund. Explanations are provided for a variance over $5,000. We have 3 items here. Charges for services is lower than expected due to the timing of receipts. From our analysis, this was due to the timing of the receipt from Washington Lake Township. Contributions and donations are higher than expected due to the gambling fund donations, and the decrease in expenditures is the result of the hail damage repairs that were completed in 2024. And here's just kind of the line item showing that we are right on track with the fire revenue compared to prior year and 2 years prior. All right. Next we go through and review the enterprise funds, starting with the water fund here on page 14. Revenues are in line with the prior year. In the revenue graph at the bottom of the page here, the increase in June is due to the transfer from the sewer fund. Supplies is below the prior year expense due to the water main breaks in the first half of 2024. Other services and charges is below the first half of last year due to catching up on payments to people's service. And repair and maintenance is higher than expected due to the lift station generator replacement. All right. Next, for our enterprise funds, we have the sewer fund. The sewer and refuse funds are in line in both revenues, and let me get this all on the page for you, sorry. Are both revenues and expenses as compared to the same period in the prior year. So we're right on track in the sewer and refuse funds, as you'll see on following pages. Other services and charges are greater than prior year due to the rate increase and switching from bi-monthly to monthly billing in July of 2025. And then you'll notice that the transfers out is greater than prior year, and that's just due to completing the annual budgeted transfer for the current year. Here is the same information for the refuse fund, excuse me, and we have no explanations that fall within our variance. All remaining pages detail out the revenues and expenditures for each fund. And that kind of wraps up the summary of our findings for your Q3 financial report. I will take any questions on this. If there are none, we can move on to your budget memo that we'll review next.
I think we're ready.
You guys are making it way too easy on me. I'm not gonna complain though. All right, so I believe this is our second formal budget meeting. We had one meeting back in July where we held a work session to get guidance from the council. Budget discussions will continue, leading to the final approval of the budget and levy in December. At that time, the levy will be certified with the county for collection for taxes payable in 2026. From prior meetings, there are no changes in the levy, so we're currently setting an increase of $64,541 or a 9.41% increase over 25. The full increase is for the general fund levy. There are no special levies required for debt services, but a levy is remaining the same as 2025 for city and fire future capital needs. All right, so tax capacity information was now available from Sibley County. So we are seeing that 9.41% increase in property taxes, but due to the substantial increase in tax capacity, we are actually seeing a decrease of about 12.38% in the estimated tax rate if we were to move forward with the figures today. All right, sorry. So as of right now, so on page 4 here, sorry, my pages weren't numbered. You'll see that the median or average residential homestead is actually looking at a decrease of about 3.68% in property taxes. And then we will review the general fund revenues and expenditures here. The revenue and expenditures, as previously stated, are increasing $65,728 from 2025. The major changes in the expenditures are in financial administration, highways, streets, roads, and EDA. This is due to the contracted rate increases additional increases are due to contracted rate increases for accounting and public works services, increases in street maintenance materials, and anticipated EDA costs for new development and redevelopment. And lastly, we have the enterprise funds budget and revenues and expenses include slight increases in revenues to align the revenues with prior year actuals. Expenses were also reviewed and adjusted similar to prior year actuals. The largest change in expenses is in the water. No capital items are included in the 2026 in the 2026 budget. The remaining pages of the memo contain detailed revenues and expenditures for each fund. And Mayor, I would like to point out one item. We had the ambulance fee that was being paid. That was $10,000. We did just shift that $10,000 into your general fund for capital. So we just shifted funds and maintained the current levy as previously discussed.
Okay.
That is it. The remaining is just details of your revenues and expenditures. And I will now take any questions or open for discussion for any potential changes.
Here we go. Lay it out for us.
The first thing I noticed was that $10,000 was shifted elsewhere instead of removed.
Right now, yeah, prior to us having a meeting, yep.
Right. I guess I just wanted to bring that up. Do we want to retain that in our budget or remove that $10,000 for next year?
David, would that $10,000 impact, as far as the levy goes? Yeah, it looks like, what did you say, capacity overall decreased 12%, residential homestead down 3.68% overall. So would that really make an impact? And if so, what is it in percentage wise? Because we did get it down to that total city tax levy 9.41, which overall was pretty dang good, considering I just looked up what the average city rate increase is projected for 26, and
Yes.
we're doing very good. So
There are there are quite large increases across the state of Minnesota, as you may have seen in the news. So,
Yep.
right now we were looking at, pardon me while I do a little math here for you to get the proper numbers you would like to see.
Appreciate it.
So right now we're at about 84.73%. If we drop the levy down $10,000, you would be looking at just over a 1% decrease in your tax rate if nothing else changes with these tax capacities, which there will likely only be minor changes. I'm not aware of any large tax petitions within your jurisdiction that would affect the capacity for pay 26.
Perfect. So, yeah, so Hunter's question still remains that do we want to leave that $10,000 in, or do we want to do?
Here's a correct question. I don't, in case of anything anticipated, I mean, we don't have to vote on it now. Right,
No, it's, well, we would if we want to.
right, if you want to do it at this point.
I'm trying to remember if there was anything we had previously discussed that we were like, let's nix that for now because we don't want to raise it anymore.
Yeah, because once we set that initial rate, we can't, you can't go any higher after the initial meeting, so we can always go down.
We still have time to figure that if we want, but if you wanted to settle it now, it's all right with me.
That was a new discovery with the Arlington ambulance and David, we can just remove that in upcoming years as well. Yeah, that was discussed at the last meeting, but just to summarize it for everybody here and online, it was a payment for overhead and everything for Arlington EMS. However, they're already billing the residents' insurance. So it's more of a courtesy. And talking to the township, some do donations of really a nominal amount. It's nothing much. And we can choose to look at something like that in the future, but the city administrator is very kind and courteous and is understanding that they will be operating with just budgeting for a loss with EMS. It's hard, but it can be adjusted with insurance billing as needed. So I like to have a cushion personally. That $10,000, we don't know what's in store for us here coming up. And it looks like with our tax capacity and rates, it's, over the last few years and more, I think we've really got this put together nicely. So I'm not going to complain too much. I think 0 would be wonderful, but of course, death and taxes. One thing we should look into the future is public works, because of course you stated, David, that is a big source of payment. Now, as they negotiate increases throughout their contracts, et cetera, we can only expect that to go up. So we'll eventually meet that point where do we need to change that or enter into an agreement with somebody else? Otherwise, maintenance, EDA development, that's all good cost. That's planning for development overall, so I can't complain about that. That would lower our tax base long term.
Can we split that 10?
And do 5?
Do 5?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
David, did Julie speak to you about the 10,000, not shifting to is it CIP? Is that what she's thinking of doing?
Yes, so
Yes,
what we
okay.
did- yes, so we moved it from the Arlington ambulance fund or account to your capital outlay. So for any capital expenses, we just rearranged that $10,000.
Correct. Did she share with you what her thought process was to make that shift and not remove it? She had talked about the fire truck that's coming up.
I was gonna ask that too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
all of those considerations were taken when she decided to just maintain it in the budget and just move it
Okay.
up. You mentioned, I know there's the fire replacement coming up here. And then also, you never know what other costs may arise out of, public works or anything like that these funds may become useful for in the future. And like you already mentioned, that at this point, we have our max levy that we have for 2026, but we can always come down. We just can't go any higher at this point. So for the time being, I think it's best to keep it in there. We can certainly over the next, I believe we have 2 weeks until your not TNT. Yeah, you're actually your
Yes.
Yep,
TNT
sure,
meeting where
that's-
we have to set your final budget and levy. So we do have 2 weeks to kind of determine if we want to maintain that 10,000 and just shift it around, or if you want to split it, or if you want to remove it completely. We can certainly have that discussion still.
And since we are talking about this, thank you for bringing that up, Diane, because we do have, and this will cover my fire board update at the end of the day. Preliminary numbers, yeah, for budgeting was shared with Julie and David, of course, at Abdo. And the estimated city portion for the new rescue truck, that's planned here 26, 27 would be 102,500. And so we've always historically budgeted for that. Townships, they pay their own portion, right? It goes by a number of units. And so that's where we sit. And
I think we should leave it in.
Yep.
And throw it even towards capital for that. If that was the case.
And I think we as a city are in good shape in terms of planning for it. The fire department, they haven't made an official determination, but they do have a fire truck committee or fire rescue committee as to what they're going to do. I mean, they're talking about making it essentially a pickup truck, which would be more cost effective. And depending on, the need for a giant medical truck in the city is really not needed anymore at all, I mean, it can still travel through the snow, weather, all of it. They get there as fast as they can, provide first responder services till EMS gets there. And they believe they can do that with a pickup truck and saves room. Sure. And their fire department's been very good with their finances, so I trust that they're making the best decision, and I'd almost say leave it in with this update with the fire board.
And as we're looking at intersections and stuff, if the city does have a portion of that to put in a sidewalk so the
Mhm.
crosswalk has somewhere to go, that's again a project that I don't think we've actually really put into the plan, that we could end up having to put a little money into that as well. So,
Yeah, correct. If MnDOT decides to get that crosswalk finished up, we would do the curb portion.
I think we're all pretty much in unison and leave the 10,000 in there.
Right, we'll leave it in, David. We
Sounds
trust.
good. I will follow up with Diane next week to make sure there was no change of heart, and then get you guys over a new memo and resolution for the TNT meeting in the future.
Perfect. And any other questions for David? You're seeing a lot right now. I'm sure, David, you've been to quite a few of these meetings. Are you privy to, I think most are double digits from what I gather around the metro and rural Minnesota as we're looking at existing taxes. We're seeing a lot of double digit increases.
Yes. I have one other city that I work with closely that I was attending the meetings for. Let me see here. I have it right in front of me. I'm just waiting for it to load. They had a 3% levy increase. But the tax rate was increasing nearly 10%. So kind of right in line with what you were saying with those double digits.
Yeah.
They weren't lucky enough to have a whole new development like you guys were to kind of increase some of that tax capacity too. So
Right. We've been lucky with that. And I shouldn't say lucky, it's a lot of hard work. So thank you, Amy and EDA and Planning and Zoning and Council for that. It's a long process. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. We're under the double digits and we have a nice tax base, and hopefully it continues. Anything else for us, David?
I do not have anything else for you. Thank you for your time today. And like I said, I'll touch base with Diane next week, make sure we're still good to go with no changes in your budget, get any information over to her, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks. It's good news. Move on for 296 McGran. Did get a brief update from our building inspector after he had a chance to look through the report from KMA Design. And as he read through it, there was a couple notes of concern, and there's no technical plan for what he stated the fixes would be or timeline for repair, which we kind of assume because we're going to be going through that together. But the one I do want to outline here is the report never mentioned the plumbing systems. And the other requirement that he's requesting after reviewing the report is that we will need a mechanical engineer and master electrician, which would cover that plumbing report itself too, the plan for plumbing. So that's per our building inspector, that's out of his mouth, and then he will work with the city attorney on more discussion as to what's needed on that. They'll open the floor for the council. Makes sense. I guess the plumbing piece, I know it was discussed briefly, but not in the report.
Does he want to put it as one permit? And then allowing so much time, or how does he want it?
That's gonna be with Darren and the city attorney, and of course, working with the owner of the building. But that's just what we know today. There's never a mention of plumbing systems in the actual report. Since he's a structural engineer, that piece probably should have been in there, but with the mechanical engineer, that would come into play. So the next step is having the engineer look at that, and along with having the building owner start thinking about a technical plan for the fixes or timeline for repairs. But with that, I would say that the next step would be mechanical engineer. And the master electrician piece, which I know we have heard that of course electricity is disconnected, right? But yeah, so.
Well, the old stuff is.
The old stuff is, sorry, yeah. You have a question?
I kind of do, but I don't quite know how to
Right.
say it. So they need to have a master plan for the plumbing and the
Oh, the electrical?
yes.
Yeah, so
Doesn't that
Darren's
kind
thinking about the fixes, right? So you got the inspector came through, like they did what they had planned, which was to go ahead and have the structural engineer come in, assess the property. In the report, what he would typically see is fixes, ideas for a rough timeline of what these fixes may be. But no mention of plumbing systems, which is unique.
is that, but can some of that be a generalization until they get everything kind of fixed up better? So then they know, cause I don't know what she wants to do with the building right now. Cause when some of the plumbing or some of that other stuff end up being changed,
Right.
if the building is redone inside, so it's kind of hard to get a final plan on that until.
Right. And I think that's where that next step is what he's saying is mechanical engineer would be able to help outline that plumbing plan. They'd be ready for that. And that would satisfy the building.
Was it just like a rough plumbing plan? Cause you don't really know exactly
Right.
what the building.
No, not a plan. The plumbing system itself wasn't
Okay.
addressed in the report. So like the status of the plumbing system.
Okay,
In the original report, it's missing a plumbing piece. And that's what he does for a living. That's what he noted was a missing item from the report. And then but he is a structural engineer. So then the next step that's recommended is the mechanical engineer. And then, of course, master electrician to determine the needs for the area as well. So we're going to keep this thing rolling and moving along. It's gonna get updated and shared with City Attorney Jansen, so he's in the loop on that. Do you have any comments you'd like to make on that matter?
Yes, I do.
Please do. Nope, you have the floor. No, I appreciate it. You have the floor. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Much like Schawn was saying, I'm not gonna start anything
Right.
until I have the okay that I'm gonna send you renovations. You asked for a structural engineer just for the structural part last time. That's why he wrote his report based on the structural portion of the building. It's not
Mhm.
falling down, it's not deteriorating, things like that. Now you're asking me to get another engineer involved to do mechanical stuff. You see where, I feel like I'm just going through all these loops, but I'm not sure where it's gonna land. You know what I mean?
No, I totally understand because I am new to having engineers come out to assess properties like structural and then mechanical versus master electrician coming out. The power supply is disconnected, the old supply, like you
The
said.
thing is,
Yeah.
all the old stuff is disconnected. So the whole purpose is to tear out everything. Everything's gonna be new. And this is where Darren is supposed to come in and inspect once I pull permits and inspect what the work is done. So to get a structural engineer for mechanical doesn't really actually make sense to me.
Sure. And what we're gonna do is bring that up to city, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I kind of agree. Why wouldn't you just get a plumber?
A licensed plumber.
Yeah.
With a permit,
Yeah.
obviously, yes.
They could come in and do an analysis of the, obviously, I'm not
Right.
a building inspector, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would make more sense to me.
to me, it does too. Yeah, no, I wouldn't really know where to begin with that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, the cities and counties, they have their own inspectors that are hired to go through that, to make sure that the building is safe and sound and that there's a plan in place. I think.
I mean, there might be one and the same as the plumber having a state license
Mhm.
to draw.
Which they typically
But
do.
that's a question I can't answer either. I mean, that would have to be,
Darren did mention that. Yeah, the mechanical engineer would have the ability to include that plumbing component. And of course, the master electrician, I think when you're ready to have electricity out there, that's where a master electrician would come in. So the only engineer really in play here next up would be mechanical, to just outline that with a solid plan of what work is going to get done and then in which order, because without the plumbing outline or knowing what your plan is, and I hear where you're coming from too. I think that's where building owner, inspector and attorney need to chat here soon, so. But the next step strategically would be for the council to recommend the mechanical engineer, which would cover that piece. The master electrician, I think, would come later on. But at the end of the day, I think the building inspector's concern is that there's really no stated or written plan, correct me if I'm wrong. But there's no stated or written plan in place today as to what order that would go in to get the building up to code per se. And have the building back in a safe condition. And it's not my job to determine what's considered safe condition. It's not.
and again, our hands are tied. We're sitting here trying to mediate between owner and the whole system as it works. Just, we've got to follow the rules. and
I feel like
everything.
that we're mediating between myself and the inspector that you guys hired. That's what it kind of feels like right now, because in all honesty, now if you say you have 1 year and it needs to be up to code and all the standards have to be there, everything has to be up to code. And you say, well, we want an actual plan from a structural engineer showing where all the electrical, that makes more sense to me. Because now I've got a year and just like no different than a house, you have building plans and it includes your electrical, includes your plumbing, includes everything. Then that would make sense. Then I will fork out the money and I will do that next. But to have one person continue coming, another person after another person come and just look at stuff. What if I do change my mind? I'd like, to how I want the building laid out.
Nope.
Until I start drawing out and start figuring out the plans, that doesn't really make sense.
I understand. Yeah, no, I hear you. I really do. And I think if I'm gathering this correctly, the mechanical engineer would truly be the only other report in theory, as of today, that we know of, that would be required to come out and assess that. So I think once those two are done, at which point you would be able to then outline a plan to fix, right? You'd have an established order in which you could get it up to code. So you'd have the structural and mechanical.
I guess I'm confused as to what you're looking for a plumber to come in and look at and say, oh, the plumbing's disconnected, or.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
what
yeah.
is the specifications that you're looking for here?
I would agree with that, and that's a solid question to ask, and I think. Well, I shouldn't say I think, I know that when the structural engineer came in, that you had hired, he documented it. He did a good job documenting, you know, the layout and all that, but it's missing a plumbing piece.
Which can I just go back and have him add the plumbing piece? He's been in the building.
And that's something that we can definitely bring up. We'll take note of that too and discuss it, but he is a structural engineer, so I think that's where your mechanical engineering comes in place. That's how I understand it, because I think that's where the plumbing component would be part of it. So then you're saying it's missing the plumbing piece, so then now we need a mechanical, so. I
The
would,
question is, are you gonna come back and now, you know, the next meeting and say, now you need an electrician there?
I have no idea. Well, it does say master electrician, but I think that would be eventually, because we know that you have the old stuff disconnected. But I would assume that you would be updating the old stuff, right? And
Well,
pulling permits on that at that time.
So
Right.
even the plumbing isn't hooked up either, so
Correct.
the electrical's not hooked up, the plumbing's not hooked up. And none of the HVAC is. So, I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, the only way this honestly makes sense to me is that you guys discuss, I guess, again, whether or not I'm gonna get a year or to do renovations, and then I come up with plans, and then I'm presenting plans with all the mechanicals, because everything's getting updated. So there's really nothing for a plumber to come in and say if it's working or not, because none of that old stuff is being used. So again, this is just where it's a little frustrating, because that's.
I hear you. Yeah, no, and I think it's about the documentation of this structure as it stands today. Is what the inspector is looking at, and it's what the council had reported as it stands today. What the condition of it is, right? So structural engineer comes in, we get two opposing reports on it, right? Essentially, that's what it is. KMA, you know, it's repairable, but then we have one that states it's not. That's our inspector. We historically have listened to our inspector. He covers.
He also has
Quite a few
lawsuits
areas.
against him. So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, he's
Guess we're not here to
Yeah.
determine that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to get this,
right.
situated somewhere too, and I'd agree. I think if that's what it's calling for, we're going by the people that telling us, that's all we can do.
And I hear what you're saying. I think it's about the current status of the building, not what your plan is, right?
but I can't do anything with the building until I know what's happening here.
Correct. And so the recommendation from the inspector would be the next step, would be the mechanical engineer. And that would cover the plumbing component. And that is what he has recommended. And so that's what we bring forth to the council. There's a lot of questions, and I also agree with some of what you're saying too, because it is a little confusing. But I think the report is about where it stands today. So the plumbing, is the plumbing safe inside the facility? If they say no, great, then we have established a plan that the plumbing needs to be replaced. You already know you're gonna have to do that, but that will be part of your long-term plan of repairing this building so that the city and owner are acting in good faith. That's really all it is. So they want to know,
So it's basically because it wasn't in writing the first time, so you have to do it again.
not again, because
But
we don't
you
have to go through all that other
All
stuff.
the other, you just have to do a portion of it.
Mechanical engineer
To fulfill it.
report.
Oh,
That's-
yeah.
I don't know where you'd find one, but I know they exist. Right, there's plenty out there. I will be also talking to the inspector and attorney to make sure that we're all on the same page with this and have a mutual understanding that after this report, what is the plan? Because if you now get two reports in, structural, mechanical, that's established. The master electrician piece, I'm a little confused on. We can discuss that at a later date because it's disconnected, and I think it comes down to foundational, right? And then what's safe, unsafe inside the structure. Electricity is disconnected. All I care about is mechanical engineering piece. That's what the inspector wants. If in the meantime, I'll work behind the scenes, make sure our city attorney is well aware. City clerk treasurer will discuss with Darren too, building inspector, and get that outlined. But at the end of the day, we do have to decide, do we want to offer a timeline so that we can continue this process moving forward for the mechanical engineer, and should anything change, we will reach out to you on that. We meaning the city or the inspector or attorney, but and it's mechanical engineer to determine the needs for the building and its status.
do we want to set a timeline
We do.
before or after this other inspection has to be done?
No, we do need the inspection, so we will have to establish a timeline for that. And just reading the conclusion from the past report from KMA is a considerable amount of repair and replacement work is required to make this building usable again. However, no structural elements of the building have deteriorated to the point where repair replacement is not feasible. Yeah, both conflicting reports, which not uncommon, I wouldn't think, just like the rule of law, different opinions on things. But we as a city just have to look out at the city and make sure that the building is safe. And of course, we're working with you appropriately. And I would say a timeline for that would be to, let me just pull up the calendar quick. And if anything changes or there's anything that they say that we're not on the same page with, or they want to update, or they want something else, I will keep in touch with you. We'll make sure that communication is ongoing. Yeah. Because this, what date did we come up with? That's gonna be meetings council, so that'll be 12/23. That would be 1 month out. And if you run into hiccups or can't find someone, of course, communicate with the city. We'll update you on anything that we hear today too. And we do appreciate you working with us. We have a lot of questions as well. This is just brought forth, so we will learn more as we go, but yeah, I would make a motion to request the mechanical engineer per the building inspector's recommendations to, of course, inspect the property at your address, which unfortunately I just put away, 296 McGrand Street, Green Isle, to determine the current condition of the property and needs for the property.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I should include my date there by 12/23. The motion second, any further?
Yeah,
Lay it out.
so the city's concern is with the structure of the building. As someone walking by, if the building were to fall down, that could potentially injure someone else. When it comes to the mechanical, that's inside the building, not affecting anyone else. What the status of that is seems more up to what the intended use of the building is. And
Right.
so if her intent is to make it safe and then, hey, I want to update the plumbing at some point, but I don't have the money right now, or whatever the reasons are, I'm going to save that for a later date. If the plumbing was capped and just made to where, hey, you can't walk in, open a faucet and get lead water in your cup. It doesn't seem to matter what the current condition is, as long as like whatever plan that was put forth says the plumbing, electrical will be left in a condition that is safe. So either for like the plumbing capped or updated as needed to where it's signed off by an inspector at the end. But like what the condition is now doesn't seem like it would matter as long as it's signed off at the end before.
But the problem with that is that could prolong 10 years. I mean, you could say, okay, we're gonna do this part here. Oh, so let's go, well, I'll get a mechanical engineer to get this done. The out goal is to be living in it and doing something with it. The building isn't gonna stand there just fixed up from the outside. Our job is to have this thing living in it too, if
Well,
that's the case, you know, it's gotta be compliance. I mean,
Well, and yeah, you are right, Harrison, because it's the city's main concern was the external structure, right? The exterior itself, possibly the interior, is it going to cave in on itself? Should there be a resident living in there? However, once an inspector is involved, it comes down to also state code and state law. And that's where our hands are tied. So that's every city hires an inspector, right? And has their city inspector. So every county has one, and they have to go by, of course, the uniform building codes and all of that stuff that's applied by the state. And so that's where our hands are tied. That's where that mechanical engineering piece is coming into play. I agree. I do, but I am not, yeah, I'm not a building inspector. I do not know the state codes. I don't know all this, it's, That's how it sits, but as far as livability of it, yeah, I mean, I just like that you own the building. It's historical. It's awesome. It'd be great to see it stay, you know, yeah. What you do with it, should you choose to turn it into a business, whatever, that's your choice. I just like to see this process moving along so that, of course, at the end of the day, you're happy, we're happy, we got a plan in place. The structural report, of course, our building inspector had concerns about it. And now we need the mechanical piece, which
But that's,
is the state
unfortunately,
piece.
that's how the system works. I mean,
Cause like my garage is up to code, but it doesn't have any plumbing.
Right,
So depending on the use of the building, it seems like if it was opted, we don't need plumbing in here. If it's not a living structure,
Mhm.
it doesn't need to meet that code because it doesn't apply.
right. And that's where, of course, the plan for, yeah. The plumbing structural needs, the mechanical engineer, master electrician determine needs for the area itself. So of course, the existing structure and the needs. So what your plan is essentially is what the mechanical engineer would outline when he's there. And you have a plan in your head, I'm sure you do, is to get this dang thing up to code and at least start working on it. In which order that is, I think that's where Darren's gonna make that determination as to where to start on the approval of permits. And get this thing rolling. And I know with winter and all this weather coming in, we wanna get this problem solved for you, and I'm sure you want this off your shoulders as well.
Well, I just need to know a timeline.
Yep, I agree, and so that's,
And stop until
Yep.
anyways, you won't approve any permits. So there's nothing I can do right now.
right,
And the building is, you know,
right.
just gonna be more and more clear on liking.
Right. No, I agree. And that's why the mechanical engineer was the most recent recommendation for our inspector. And of course, we will be having discussions first with our attorney and inspector. Those will be ongoing. But as of today, we are the kind of in between. It is like we're playing beat and repeat. Because at the end of the day, the council's the governing authority. We have to review what our building inspector states and usually follows recommendations. To go against that could be unwise. It could cause some issues down the road. So historically, a council's always went with their building inspector regardless if we agree with them or not. But that is up for vote. And with that said, we had the motion and second on the floor to have the mechanical engineer assess the property and determine the needs for those areas, which would include plumbing. And if the building owner could have their reports to city council no later than 12/23 at 7 PM, which is our next council meeting or council meeting 1 month away. And there's no further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that carries. And we will be in touch if I hear anything else. Okay. I appreciate it a ton. This is new information for us, so we'll be sending that over to our attorney. And we will move on. Next up is Cornerstone State Bank. We have the Green Isle Bank President Sue with us today.
I'm gonna turn it over to Chad.
Chad, welcome.
I'll move back and forward to talk too.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Chad Homeless.
Hi, Chad.
I did prepare a statement, takes a couple minutes to read.
Oh, please do.
Read off, but I'll read off.
And I'm sorry, Chad, what was your title with the?
The president of the bank.
Yes.
Okay. So in an open forum, Cornerstone State Bank was accused of not being community friendly. We would like to take this opportunity to share some of the many ways we support our community. A strong community begins with a strong local partners. For decades, we have been proud to serve Green Isle, not only as a financial institution, but as an invested member of the community. We are committed to growth, its families and its future. Beyond financial partnerships, Cornerstone State Bank has always dedicated to enriching life in Green Isle. Our contributions include support for the Veterans Park, music in the park, the Easter egg hunt, the Green Isle baseball park, and many other local programs and events. Additionally, as the U.S. Post Office considers consolidating offices, we have transferred all our mailings to Green Isle Post Office to help and keep it in town. These efforts reflect our belief that a thriving community is built not only on financial services, but through engagement generosity, and shared purpose. In 2005, the city of Green Isle approached the bank regarding the revenue bond to renovate and improve the school building. The bond amount was $1,670,000. As collateral, the city pledged the school building, which included the baseball field and the EDA lots. The appraisal, which the city approved at the time, valued the property at $2,186,000. We understand that maintaining a local school was essential to keeping children in the community, providing jobs, and supporting the overall vitality of Green Isle. Under the original schedule, the bond would have been paid off by now. However, as enrollment challenges arose, the city came to this Cornerstone State Bank in 2010, 2015, and 2017 to request modified payments and below market interest rates. We listened, we understood the situation, and agreed to revise the terms at the city's request. The city's current request is purchase part of the ball field land originally used as bond collateral. The agreement was that both the city and the bank would obtain appraisals, negotiate based on those valuations. The city's appraisal came in lower than the bank's at $215,000. Disregarding their own appraisal, the city offered $2,210 per acre or $6,630 for the 3 acres. Because this offer was not just and not acting in good faith, negotiations stalled for months. Green Isle baseball team has since agreed to contribute $25,000, bringing the total offer of $31,630, not anywhere near close to the $50,000 reported in the paper. The bank remains open to further discussion, but the city has not revisited its original offer of $6,630 portion of the offer. After years of partnership in this school project, it is disappointing that a disagreement over land value has led the mayor to publicly state that we are not community friendly. Cornerstone State Bank has worked with the city for 20 years on the school bond. We're deeply involved in the community. We own a bank building here. We pay real estate taxes. We provide loans in the community. Cornerstone State Bank remains committed to the city of Green Isle and its residents.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And I just want to clarify just a couple items. The bond is with the EDA. Number 2, the $31,630. Yeah, that would be, but you're missing also that the city would also pay the parcel piece, the assessing, the surveying, all of that, which would equate to roughly $50,000. So that number never changed.
You have a bid?
I can definitely get one, but again,
It's
negotiation, all that. Oh, no,
Yeah.
you've read yours. So I want to say that one, I am very fond of the bank and the community service you guys provide. And I'll say that all day long. But the negotiations with the person that we were negotiating with was less than ideal. And I can guarantee that was not being very community friendly. I don't like to negotiate with bullying tactics, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not satisfied or pleased when I said, well, all we have left is then to pull up our accounts, and he shrugged his shoulders at me. I think we're all privy to that. And yes, it is good to have real estate. It is amazing the things you guys do in Green Isle. And I think a lot of that, honestly, should continue. That's why I am dang surprised that our offer is still not being accepted. And I think it's fair, because what the heck are we gonna do with half a baseball field? And what are you gonna do with it? It's nobody wants half a field. All we're asking for is for it to be whole again. And get this thing off our plate and move on, really, is at the end of the day is what we discussed. So yeah, the EDA piece and the price itself, I wanted to clarify that. If you do want a bid, that would have been wonderful to know. Or, well, I would have got that for you at the start of negotiations, not wait months. Plus, we've been paying $250 every 2 weeks to maintain that boiler, licensing, electricity. We've also paid a realtor and tried to at least sell the property or find somebody else to take place in it. We've worked endlessly on this project. So, of course, now that winter hits is when we hear a response from said person that, oh, hey, we're not gonna accept the offer. Okay, so we just waited 3 months for a response. We go into timelines. To me, that's a little ridiculous when you're looking at negotiations. That's my thought. Council?
I, for one, do not want us to pull money out of that bank.
Okay.
That is just my thought. That's just, to me, not community. But we have to come to a point here we have dealt with this, we have had meetings, and I really believe there's someplace this has got to snap. This has got to butt heads and end. I don't know where this is. We have to get along and come out of this thing, have gotten along. Yeah, there's been some not good things said, I agree. Well, what does it take on both sides? I don't know. The community is they're stalled out. Nobody knows. What are we gonna do?
Well, and in reality, you're president of a bank, you know that during negotiations, what do we have? We need to say, you know what, if this stalls, what's next? What do we do? Because you're obviously gonna bring it to foreclosure, you're gonna bring it to an auction, somebody's gonna buy it. Who that is, I don't know. But if these negotiations, in my mind, aren't performed in good faith, waiting months to respond, what is there left for a municipality to do but to say, maybe we need to look at another bank? And that is a negotiation tactic that is on the table. And it's not only me. I think we've all discussed it. Now, are we gonna act on it? That's gonna require a motion and a vote. And we were hoping to hear again from the bank, and I'm very thankful that you came to hear about what the plan is. Like, is it just gonna sit, or is it gonna continue to foreclosure?
What's the legal format? I mean,
Well,
foreclosure's been on us, right? But
No.
we have not officially been foreclosed. Correct? I mean,
correct. We've been negotiating. Well,
where does that go? Why doesn't that enact? Why doesn't that happen?
And
We relieve ourselves of it then and figure it down the road. I don't know, because it's not happening now.
well, I know that the city is been back and forth with the EDA on this. The EDA is, they said like this, it is what it is. They're done. It's come to us. Our city attorney tried to offer something else. And that was a no-go. A motion didn't even pass the floor. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, that the city stance still remains the same. This 31,630, like you said, that's a great question, is do you have a quote? No, I don't, but I'm happy to get one. But if you do look at the rough cost for the surveying and all that, it does equate to about 48 to 50 grand. But we can definitely put that on paper, but that was verbalized many times. So I don't know what else to say there. I really don't. You guys always have been great. And I hope that you would continue to be, but we're waiting on figuring out what the heck is gonna happen with this. We are grateful, of course, that this bond was renewed for the school and you guys were acting in good faith for it. But I'm not the EDA, we're the council. So I don't know what else to do. The EDA, one, doesn't have the money to continue the payments.
This was a great tactic. This has got us talking again. To pull money out. If this is a move to
They
do
got
it,
them here, so.
right, then I'm confused. I guess I have to be confused because I don't know our next step. If we should be foreclosed on, we should be handing over the keys. We should be saying, okay, we washed our hand, we've done all we can do to negotiate. Then it's gotta be, I don't want to say it meanly, but it's gonna be your problem. I mean,
Well, it is.
yeah,
Because,
you know,
we've already voted, it's done. Our attorney has also noted, we're done. Like,
in the baseball part of it has really been the more hectic thing of it, because we get a lot of mixed people in town about what to do with the baseball. Nobody wants to see it go either, but
well, and also it's been, I've heard of others that would say that they would pull money too, and I don't want to get into that point, because why would you want to pull money out of a small bank? Unless something bad is going on, or there's a lot of disagreement, or the community is feeling unsupported. I for one can guarantee I sure as hell feel unsupported, waiting months to hear back, and even during talking with the person. Yeah, right. There's a couple of us that were there at that time. Negotiations were not very friendly. I think with one person.
but we can get over that.
But I can get over that because
If you go beyond that, we
I have thick skin, but at the end of the day, it's the action taken. You don't wait months to respond. Why was there months to respond?
It didn't change though either. I mean,
Well, nor was it discussed at all. you're the first to ask me, well, okay, so this is $31,600. Well, why are you saying that it's almost 50? Is there a quote? You're the first to say that. Which is good, and we can easily get one. But at the end of the day, that would be, again, part of negotiation, but the council has voted to move forward with foreclosure and not make any more payments. And of course, we've got boiler work that's getting done. I mean, we've put so much money into it and have been. So our offer is even, in my mind, still a dang good offer and still in good faith between both parties. It's a give and take. And I think that in this situation, that you don't want to deal with half a baseball field. We don't want to deal with half a baseball field. What's the best bet? Let's settle this and get it done with the survey and just end it at that roughly 50 mark. Or we can just say 50 and then you take over the surveying cost. Problem solved, then it's 50 grand. You know, that's all I'm thinking. You guys have anything else to add on that? And I have no vote on the EDA for the record too, so I didn't have really anything to state in that matter.
I just wanted to call out just for clarification, the last time the EDA met, they did vote 3-2 to recommend more money.
25 more.
25,000 more to add on to the offer.
Yep.
And
3-2.
That's what didn't pass council last time.
Correct.
I think my big hangup was that why I wasn't gonna vote for it is the one reason. It shouldn't take months. If it's a person trying to get a loan from a bank, it doesn't take months to talk to them. And that's the part I really dislike, is that the months part. We should have been able to have this, because we knew about this almost a year ago already, that this was gonna go down this road. And it shouldn't have taken a year to figure it out. I wasn't on the council, I lived in town, but I wasn't on the council or anything to do with it when all this bond stuff had to get redone. I don't like having to deal with other people's messes like this, when a lot of this could have been figured out many, many years ago with the baseball field. That's all I have to say.
And I agree with you, Mark. We don't want to pull money out of the dang account. That was the whole point of saying, like, we don't want to do it, but I think we can bring that up if we have
Yeah,
to.
but this is something back at the table here. I think everybody in this community is just, and I'm really getting old with it by, then there's false stuff said and it's not fair to anybody and we've got to come together here. I mean, if that foreclosure is supposed to be foreclosed on, then we should be going through it and let the chips fall where they may, as far as that baseball field. And I don't know. I don't want to see it go, but I don't know what our solution is. It can't go anymore like this. It's just not good for the community.
Nobody does, but to see the baseball association also come forth with a tentative, right? We'd have to approve that by resolution. 25 grand out of their own fundraised money was significant to me. That's community, right? They're all joining forces and offering additional money is to not impact the taxpayer. I know your business. We're operating like one. We both have our needs. We have 600 some residents to serve. You've probably got hundreds, thousands of people you have to serve and a board. So I don't know. I appreciate the statement. I don't know what would your plan be then moving forward?
As far as, I mean, I gotta find out where it's at in the foreclosure process. But I know it take control of the building and try to get it sold. And there was value on it at some point. I mean, hopefully we can find somebody that'll put a business in there or put something in the building and get it producing and performing.
And I think that's all we want too, because looking at it, we couldn't find anybody that wanted to take over the payments from the EDA side. As they said, because it is a hard one to handle. And of course, with charter schools closing all over the state, it's yeah, don't get me started. Because I ended up sending letters to legislation even to the governor himself multiple times. No action. It was frustrating because they get a different funding source and type than your typical public school would, right? So that was a struggle from the get-go. But At the end of the day, we want somebody in the dang building. Cause and we don't wanna see it come crashing down, like the boiler not maintained, because then nobody's gonna want the building, and then nobody's going to be paying taxes on said building. So, that's where we're sitting, is like, okay, foreclosure would be the next best bet, cause we have exhausted pretty much everything we can, and our EDA director can chime in if she wants, but we really have watched the EDA put a lot of funding in this, a lot of funding that was designated. I mean, thank God we had Excel Energy leasing out property right then and there, because it gave us enough money to try to find and seek and just see if somebody's willing to accept that building, look at daycare options. What other than a daycare could it be? We've had a realtor come out and explain what other school buildings in the area are selling for. And it's a tough pill to swallow, just seeing it on paper, but
Oh, just to let you know, the people that did want to use it for daycare, they are building their own facility, so it wouldn't have been a very long
No.
term thing anyways.
correct. And that was the only one that we really had come forth publicly, and that, and the rental payments would have been at, per pupil. And yeah, there was no way to gauge that. And in my mind, I'm like, if we were to negotiate that with the bank, I think you'd like to see some solid numbers to know what you're gonna get every month, right? Not base it off what ifs. So, which would have ended up being a competitor at the end of the day, and probably would have still impacted the building. And EDA, all they care about right now, we understand that the school did close, the amount coming forth is a lot. Rental payments would be extraordinary, so the move was to foreclose, but at least try to preserve the baseball park itself. So that was what the initial negotiation is and always has been. The price point, if it makes you feel better, this $31,630 added up, if it rounds up to 50, or if, and you take over surveying costs, that's fine, but the amount of money is still there. Yeah, next step then is you to check on the foreclosure stance or status. Anything else for us?
No,
Good.
I bet.
Perfect. Cause if you want to just keep us in the loop on that, or actually be city clerk fan for, or yeah, we can have both of you probably in the loop on that once we know. And city attorney Ken Jansen, so we can get this moving, because we'd have to eventually take the insurance off, which we have been holding, and maintenance of the boiler. And that's one that we really want off our plate if it's going into foreclosure, because there's no sense in paying that much money every 2 weeks.
And technically you do own it yet, you know, I mean, that's the.
And that's why I think Schawn, Councilmember, mentioned that it shouldn't have taken this long. If you truly wanted to do that, why did we have to wait? That is what, to me, is not good faith efforts in negotiation. But I still hold true of my stance that this is not being community friendly. This, not what you guys have done. I agree, you guys have done a ton, and I hope to God you continue to do that for us. But the way this process has been, no. It hasn't been. And I will hold true to that. Anything else? All right, so if we can have an update on the foreclosure status and let us know what we can do with the keys and boiler maintenance and all of that, it'd be nice to just have
A
it
lot
all
of loose ends that have never been tied.
Right.
Somebody emailed you on that information. The keys in the boiler information.
Yes, Diane sent.
I mean, I think we have that information, and I think.
Which one?
You have the contact information for the boiler, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, we can take that over.
Okay,
I don't think we can insure it yet because it's not owned by us.
right. And that's where I'm wondering, why are we in this stalemate? Cause it's kind of nice for us to pay for it, isn't it?
Well, we didn't, the offer wasn't, you didn't change your offer. I mean, the offer has stayed the same. You haven't, we've asked for a higher amount and.
No, and we told you we're foreclosing and still no action. We told you we're done, and there was still no action.
Okay.
You see where, like, that's the frustrating part, is like, we've said we're done, and yet now we are a few months later coming into winter. And now we're starting to hear something again. That's the
I
frustrating
think the
part.
best thing,
Well, we can pick over.
Continue
We
forward.
can pick over the maintenance and pick up the maintenance and the keys. on the building. Insurance, no, but I don't know what else there is. I mean, it takes, the foreclosure is gonna take, you have redemption,
Right,
you're looking at a year anyways, so you have publish, redemption. I mean, it isn't something that happens right away, and hopefully we can get it listed. When, would you guys be willing to, we brought some realtor in to get it listed so we can try to get it sold?
absolutely. Yeah, but how is it getting sold then? Is it getting sold with half a baseball field?
I mean,
That's all we were negotiating on.
yeah, I mean, we'd have to see what the next purpose is of the building.
Right.
I mean, they need off-street parking, if they need, I mean, we have to figure out what that is.
Is a step forward.
Well, I mean, you know, in the.
Not really.
Well,
We just
gotta have start somewhere.
with our school, right? I mean,
Right,
they don't have enough parking, they have a proposal to redo the school and create 56 units, but they don't have enough off-street parking to
Right.
make the project work, so it failed.
right.
I mean, that's what we're dealing with in the sewer right now, so.
Yeah, I've,
I mean, that's why that one failed. I don't know, I mean, what the use will be.
and I think that's the biggest concern is like, what would the bank do with parkland? You know, like we're saying, like we'll pay the surveying cost of half of a baseball field. At the end of the day, that's all it is. We know that the school building's gone. We hope somebody will buy it.
Yeah, but you have an appraisal of 215 and you're nowhere near
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have,
But, I mean, you're.
we have an appraisal of 215 of what the land's potential value is, not what it was zoned as. And look at your appraisal that you got from your ball field, like I told him when he brought his, we have yet to see yours, by the way. You requested it
Yeah.
and we immediately gave it to you that next day. So there has never been a delay on our end, working with you guys.
Okay,
But I do want to make something public here is that that whole appraisal stuff, neither of us got it right. Because you didn't get a half a baseball field appraisal either. You got a full field appraisal.
Mhm.
So I think we can agree that we both suck at getting appraisals in.
well,
So-
that's how they evaluate it. I mean, it's hard to evaluate half of a.
Amen to that, right?
You can't do half of a price, you know, a field.
Right, he said, what am I gonna do with half a field, he told me.
What
Exactly.
does farmland sell for?
Is it,
Depends, prime is probably 6 to 8, right?
yeah, well, what
And this
is that farmland or is that non-tillable
We're
land?
not there yet, you know?
Yeah,
That-
six,
that
six to
farmland?
8, and it's only $18,000, so if you're gonna compare that to prime farmland, then you're only gonna get $18,000 for it, so I.
That's just gonna say, yeah, that's
It's
not
a
even worth it.
property too.
Well, I mean,
Zoned park, it can't be anything else but a park, so that's kind of stuck in that position right there with the planning and zoning, the way it's been zoned. The stuff can't change unless it's voted on, which is highly unlikely that it would ever change.
and that'd be up to planning and zoning, should they wish to do it, that's, of course. A recommendation piece that they bring forth to the council. I don't know how that would go, but as of today, it is on parkland. Yeah, so I don't know, what is parkland valued at is the question to ask.
I mean, the real thing is, I mean, we're taking a significant loss on this. I mean, a very big loss. It'll probably be our biggest loss.
You're taking a big projected loss, you're not
Yeah, if
taking a
the school-
significant loss,
Depending upon what the school sells for,
correct?
and you're offering $6,000. I mean, that's the real. I mean,
6,000,
$6,630 is what the city is willing off of a loss.
you're talking, so
So your offer to us is $6,630. The city is offering.
No, you're talking on and above what the baseball
And the
would,
baseball's picking up, so $31,000. And we,
plus the survey, or plus the surveying cost and all of that. So that would, yeah,
we thought we were here under 25, we might have been 49, but.
right, it's
Total
almost
would have been
50 grand.
50
So it's a
grand,
fact
yeah,
of the matter
exactly,
remains.
yeah. And we had
but you
a,
don't have a bid on it either. I mean.
Nobody asked us to get a bid on it.
I mean,
Come on, we're negotiating. If you wanted that, you could have responded with that. Let's be real. I thought this would be really nice to have you come out and discuss. And maybe it will be beneficial, but I think we could argue this endlessly back and forth. We could, I mean, that is why, of course, it's going into foreclosure. But again, it's half a dang field. All the city is asking and the public has really asked is, can't we just keep the dang baseball field whole? And by doing that, I feel my $31,630 that was offered, which includes the baseball parks donation and the cost, of course, to do all the surveying stuff, which we looked at would roughly be 48, 50 grand, was fair and still is. And I truly thought that Cornerstone State Bank would feel the same. But the numbers are just too far off for us to even come back and say, well, how about this? No, it is just not gonna happen. So it sounds like you'll be owning half a baseball field and unless something changes, I think we'd love to work with you if you'd accept the offer, but it does remain in place. Unless the council has any ideas, I think that still stays. So. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Move on with EDA update.
Actually, going back to 9 school update.
Yep.
I just had a question. I was talking with one of my neighbors and this came up regarding our local government aid. Will that be impacted at all if we get foreclosed on or if the EDA gets foreclosed on?
No.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Perfect. All right, number 10, EDA update.
We have not met since last, excuse my voice again, I don't know what's wrong with my voice.
Air as dry as can be, I'm feeling it.
We have not had an EDA meeting since the last council meeting, but we can move the resolution for the Smith grant to the EDA. That was for the grant we got for the small town grant for our Heritage Festival.
Which is going to be amazing.
It will be.
That's a lot of work that you put into it and everybody else, thank you on that. So yeah, that would be a resolution authorizing grant acceptance, resolution number 2025-36. Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation Small Town Grant provides grant funding to political subdivisions for the purposes of improving the way of community works together, solves challenges, and creates a welcoming community and sense of belonging for all. And so we have been awarded $10,000 from the grant to complete the project expressed in the application. So now we have to make a motion to accept that and confirm resolution 2025-36 for the Smith grant. And I'm happy to make that motion. Is there a second on the floor?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 And that carries. Yes, we can keep trucking along. Amy, what else we got? We got P and Z Tree Committee. We got your Smith grant taken care of.
P and Z will be applying or submitting another letter of intent for another grant. It's the Transportation Alternatives Program. It's another MnDOT grant application, same thing that we're applying for the funds for. I was working with our engineer, Brian Paetzel, to get that letter of intent submitted. And that does have most of the MnDOT ones, didn't say anything when you cut that $10,000 back, but most of those MnDOT ones do have some type of match that the city would put in funds if we're awarded funds for those crosswalks, so.
Hey, we found $10,000 from the ambulance.
Good move. So that will be submitted yet. The relief grant was submitted for the tree committee. I'm working on the agendas for all 3 of those, meet next week, and just letting them all know we'll have to pick our first meeting in January for all 3 of these committees because committees cannot meet until after city council has met.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I think that covers all of your updates. We're all set.
I got a question for Amy.
Go for it.
So it seems we might end up looking into a road fix thing that might get a little spendy. Is there grants out there for helping cities with fixing infrastructure stuff like that? Is there
Look for something.
possibly look into some of that for us, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Is it gonna be the Church Street?
Yeah,
Is that what
that,
you're thinking?
yeah, once we know for sure, if you could start looking, cause I'd like to keep the ball rolling on some of that. As long as we, get the stuff back from Brian from IFG and all of that.
Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That covers your street project ISG report.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else to add on that?
Nope. Easy enough.
All right, 15, and I know we are having quite a long meeting tonight, but live.
Mr.
streaming-
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
skip 13.
Did I?
Uh,
Park board, that isn't.
I gotta give my update.
Yeah, I looked at the resolution, I apologize. Go
What
for
about
it.
12?
Thanks. So park board,
Oh, sorry.
So the tree committee has not met since last time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I guess the question I had, has any progress been done on that tree up there by the bank? I
I
have not seen it down.
do plan to bring that to tree committee for our next meeting.
and that has been, yeah, that one is likely a law enforcement thing, but has been reported and discussed.
Okay.
So there's more so on that, that's.
Thank you.
Read about
Oh,
that,
yeah.
thank you.
Did we reach out to the sheriff about that?
Yep.
Deputy.
Yeah, did he give a response? Thank you.
It's verbal, it's, you
Okay.
know,
You two could connect with the
What did he say about that then?
he basically said that if it's in the right of way, we can cut, we can trim.
We can trim it for the safety.
Yeah.
We need that in writing though before we touch it.
It was verbal, so that's where we don't have anything official yet, so,
Okay.
yeah, there'll be more to come on that. I think that's, yeah, you'll know more for your tree committee stuff too.
Yeah, and even if we did take action on this one based on the recommendation of the sheriff.
Yep.
It would be nice to have our tree policy align with that, so
Correct.
we're not, so that way. If a citizen's looking at our tree policy, like if it's in alignment with what we plan to do, they don't have to, call up the sheriff as well.
Right.
So. Thank you for that, and yeah, I'll mention that to tree committee.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All you, Hunter.
all right, now park board update. Just kidding. So if you haven't noticed, the shelter at the Lions Park is getting re-sided. That started a couple weeks ago. So hopefully that gets finished up here and starts looking a lot better.
Looking good.
Our last meeting, we finalized some of our proposed park rules that we will be proposing in a new park rules ordinance. Amy, question for you. Do you think we still want to time that with the new zoning code? Or can I do that whenever?
Is your language gonna be the same as what's in the current zoning code?
No.
Cause right now it's in the zoning code
Okay,
as
so it
well,
would
remember?
conflict.
I would just wait.
Okay. So that'll come sometime in the future.
Mhm.
Thanks for double checking, that's a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we touched on the flag contest in light of the Heritage Festival next year. We're thinking of pushing the flag contest so that we can have a voting or a display at the Heritage Festival in September. So we're gonna wait a little bit longer on that, but we think it will align well with that event.
It'll be cool.
And then last thing, the park board will be decorating a tree for the Christmas tree stroll this year over at the church.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Any part, I suppose, early dazzle stuff, I did put green out in, so if anybody wants to join the float, have at it. Like I got a trailer rolling, you guys are welcome to join in. I know I did it last year too, it's a good time. If anybody wants to throw candy.
Can I just
But I-
candy?
Anybody eat candy on the trailer, I think it all works, but I think that's a good idea, so thank you guys for doing that, it'll be nice to have our city represented there.
Mhm. That's all I had.
Thank you,
I
sir.
got a question for Hunter now. Are you getting some more bids for your trails? Okay.
Yes, I had a second company come out last week. They are bidding right now because they are looking to get into trails next year.
Okay,
So they're still waiting to determine that as a business, if they will be doing that, at which point they'll give me their bid.
okay. So maybe something middle of January or maybe something like that.
Yeah, he was hoping by the next park board meeting in December, but
Okay,
we'll just have to see. But aside from that, we only have one quote in hand.
okay. Thank you.
Right. All right, now we got street project, that's all done. ISG, we're not missing anybody. I think we're golden.
It's, you know, Miller's, I believe they'll be that one spring with all new pricing and stuff like that.
And that's fine, cause then we can have them see what, if they wanna bid on that project too, 'cause we're gonna need at least 2 or 3 bids, considering the scope and the cost of the project, right?
They're gonna be over, what is it, 150, don't quote me.
I would think it's going to be,
So yes, it would need to be, we'd need to go through the RFP process and sealed.
especially if we quote fixing the rest of the curb that didn't get done, besides what, cause he had 1,000 linear feet in there, and I know he's only gonna go up to like 590.
Right.
And if we do that, and if we can tie them streets we wanna repave in, all as one quote, so.
One fell swoop. Yeah, then we would, yeah, we'd have to have them go for an RFP and then have it be a sealed bid, opening council, all that stuff, so.
Do we need to approve this revised quote from Final Property Solutions with their deadline of next year for the curb?
No, cause I think we did set the deadline last meeting or something like that.
Okay, this is just confirmed.
Set it at that.
In writing now.
Okay.
Yep. Good question, though, yeah. Nope, we have it on paper, which makes me very happy, so we're all set and on the same page. And then, we have nothing else, we'll go to 15, live streaming discussion, thoughts on adding, additional meetings to, the YouTube. I think we've done our test run for over a year now, it's been very well received. Do we want to start to try to include other meetings? Which ties into, of course, the 16, is that if we do that, we'd almost need to just update some of our audiovisual equipment, because the number one concern I do hear is that audio is hard to hear on occasions. And we only have one camera that's probably dated as can be at this point, so we would need to at least address that.
And we have been getting a lot of good feedback about being able to see this, so the dry run, so they.
Nothing but good.
Are you getting, since I haven't asked or talked to anybody, are we getting more feedback then from the residents too? That by them being able to watch this, is it better, more feedback?
Well, I mean, even if you, on Facebook, you can reference, hey, this was said on this meeting, this time, if there's a rumor mill in town, like it helps with transparency, so that anyone can log in and see what we're saying.
So I would say probably, which one would you want to do them all? DDA and planning and zoning, or just start with planning and zoning?
I would say we start with probably planning and zoning, park board, anybody with the ability to make, or recommend financial decisions.
Okay.
To the council would be good. EDA we'll have to look at. I want to see what other cities are doing. That one's a little hit or miss, still public meeting, but oftentimes they're not streamed.
Okay.
And that's not to hide anything, because anybody can come.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just typically not, so that would be my recommendation, but in lieu of that, we would need audio visual upgrades. So if the council's okay with it, we would have somebody probably come out and just give us a general idea of what that is, so that any one of us can hit play and start streaming if we needed to. Because if we have a committee chair that's there, or if I'm absent, somebody else, they can hit a button and start the meeting.
I like it.
I think it'd be a good start there, yeah, perfect.
It'd be nice to have mics out
Yeah,
on that table as well.
I agree. And there's so many options that I don't know where we'd begin, so I think just having someone share what they can do for us here at one of these meetings coming up would be good. So it sounds like we're all on the same page there. I am sorry, Ann, to keep you waiting. My goodness, you were patient.
Good evening, Mayor Sheets and council members. There's no apologies necessary. I mean, these are all issues that are important to me. So I was engaged.
No, we appreciate joining us from middle Arizona. So Ann is I guess the administrator, or you pretty much run that History of Green Isle page on Facebook, if anybody's been on it. She collects a lot of the story, knows so many facts on the history of Green Isle. It's amazing. And I thought with the Heritage Fest coming into play here, we connected and she had a ton of work on it done already. And it would be a historical research project regarding mayors, founders of Green Isle from as far back as we can possibly go, and bring it up to her. She has performed a lot of work already. I think it comes down to photos, right, Ann?
Yeah, well, I still don't have a complete list either of former mayors or founders. We have a list, the group has compiled a list of 27 past mayors, but you know, the township was formed in 1858, so that sounds like it's probably about 2/3 of the people.
That's amazing that she's collected that much so far. So the idea is to try to build something or I shouldn't say build something, we're not putting up a statue, but like come up with some sort of plaque or photos for City Hall or somewhere for Heritage Days, right? To go through the founders of our city, because a lot of it, you look back and like when I was reading Ann's list, it's like, oh, that's what that street's named after, right? We think about that stuff, but I think it aligns with Heritage Days very well. And if the council's in favor of it, Ann and I and whoever wants to join can just keep this project going and just come up with something to propose later on. And do you have anything else to add, Ann, on that?
I don't think so. No, I mean, it's something that I have always kind of wanted to see happen. So, I like the proposal a lot. Just to get some of that recognition of, the history, of the city of Green Isle.
We appreciate all the work you've already put into it. So if everybody's cool with it, all right, we got heads nodding over here, Ann. So you and I I'll connect with you later on.
Okay.
And we'll keep this project rolling and we'll just update the council as we move forward.
Oh, I do have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
When is Heritage Days?
Well, that's to be determined, but it will be September, I think,
The
or
last weekend.
is that what it is now? They're officially the last weekend of September?
Tentatively, the last Saturday of September.
Okay.
Okay, so we have time.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll probably sneak up on us faster than we expect.
Oh, yeah. Those dates always do, don't they?
Excellent. Well, we do appreciate you holding on and kind of explaining the idea, and we look forward to seeing what you can come up with too, and of course, we'll be in touch soon.
Okay, and I do want to say thank you to all of you too for all the work you put in to keep Green Isle up and running. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that. All right, so my fire board update was already covered. We got that on its way. Discussion regarding mayoral appointments for council members. That is one thing we are actively doing. So city clerk treasurer and I will be meeting and looking at some appointments. If anybody has any feedback or anything, if you can just email Diane on that. If there's a certain committee that you'd like to change or look at differently, weed inspector we're changing. That's really about it. So if you guys just want to start to ponder and just let us know, and we'll get those rolling as soon as possible. Next up, we got other, and I don't think we have others from anybody, do we? Sweet, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second, any further discussion? And hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And